Have you ever seen a man's entire world flip upside down in a single heartbeat? Asterisk, because that's exactly what happened to Silas Ward the morning his mail-order bride stepped off the wagon. Asterisk, and what he saw made him drop his hat in the dust. Literally. Asterisk, before we continue this unbelievable frontier tale, make sure you subscribe for more Wild Western stories and hit the like button so our YouTube ranch keeps growing. Now back to Silas. Asterisk, Silas Ward had spent most of his 32 years in silence. Not the peaceful, gentle kind, but the heavy silence that takes root inside a man when he works the land alone for too long. His small ranch in the foothills of the Sierra Madre was his entire world. Acres of dust, a half-broken fence, a creaky cabin, and a heart that had almost forgotten what companionship felt like. But loneliness can push a man to do unexpected things. So Silas, after months of thinking, finally sent a letter to an agency in St. Louis that arranged mail-order marriages for frontier men. His request was simple. A gentle woman who wishes for a quiet life. For weeks he imagined her. Maybe she would be small, soft-spoken, someone who needed him as much as he needed her. Someone he could protect. Someone he could talk to at the end of long workdays. Someone who could make the cabin feel alive again. Asterisk, the day the wagon arrived, Silas even cleaned himself up, brushed his boots, combed his hair, practiced what to say. Asterisk, he stood outside his cabin, heart pounding. The driver jumped down first. "Got your bride here, Mr. Ward," he said with a smirk. Asterisk, Silas stepped forward, his throat dry, his hands sweating. The canvas cover of the wagon shifted. A shadow moved. Familiar excitement fluttered in his chest, and then she stepped out. Silas froze. Asterisk. Standing before him was not the delicate woman he had pictured. Asterisk, no, this woman was towering, broad-shouldered, with arms shaped by years of hard labor. Her presence alone felt like a gust of wind rolling in from the mountains. She looked down at him with deep, steady eyes, carrying a weathered suitcase as if it weighed nothing. The sight stunned Silas so completely that he forgot to breathe. "Name's Marena, she said, her voice deep but calm. "I reckon you're Silas Ward." Silas only nodded. Everything he expected, every dream, every fantasy shattered in that moment. This wasn't the fragile flower he imagined. This was a storm wearing a dress. Asterisk, and yet there was something in her gaze. Asterisk, something worn. Something lonely. Something that felt too familiar. Asterisk, the wagon rolled away, leaving the two strangers staring at each other in the golden dust of the frontier. Silas swallowed. "So, you came all the way from Missouri?" Asterisk, Marena gave a slow nod. "I came because your letter sounded honest, and I'm a woman who keeps her word." Silas felt the ground shift beneath him. This was not the beginning he expected. Asterisk, but it was the beginning fate had chosen. Asterisk, Silas led Marena toward the cabin, trying to keep his steps steady. His mind raced with questions he didn't dare say aloud. Why had the agency sent someone like her? Why had she agreed? And how could he ever live up to a woman who looked like she could lift a full-grown steer with one arm? Asterisk, inside, the cabin smelled faintly of pine and dust. He had set out a clean tablecloth, baked a small loaf of cornbread, and placed wildflowers in a tin cup. Suddenly everything felt embarrassingly small, as if the entire space shrank in the presence of this towering woman. Asterisk, Marena ran her fingers along the windowsill, her gaze sweeping the room with surprising gentleness. "You've done well here," she said. "A place a person could breathe." Asterisk, Silas blinked. "Thank you. I hope it's comfortable enough." Asterisk, "I've lived in worse," she said simply, setting down her suitcase. "Much worse." Asterisk, they shared an awkward silence until Silas cleared his throat. "If you don't mind my skin, the agency said nothing about..." He gestured vaguely, not wanting to offend her. Marena arched a brow. Asterisk, about me being built like a mountain? She finished. Asterisk Silas nearly choked. No, I just meant, asterisk she laughed. A deep warm sound that filled the cabin. Asterisk, relax Silas. I know I ain't what men usually expect. Asterisk Silas's cheeks burned. You're just different. Asterisk, different doesn't mean bad, she replied quietly. Asterisk, her words settled between them like a soft snowfall. Silas realized then that behind her strength was a layer of tiredness, a woman who had lived hard years. He sensed the weight of stories unsaid. Asterisk, they spent the afternoon tending to chores. Marena asked for no rest, lifting beams, hauling buckets, repairing the henhouse roof, all with an ease that left Silas both astonished and mildly intimidated. Yet her actions weren't meant to show off. She worked with purpose, with care, with a desire to contribute. Asterisk, as the sun dipped toward the mountains, Silas found her sitting on the fence, watching the horses graze. Asterisk, you ever ride? He asked. Asterisk, once, she said. Horse threw me. I threw it back. Asterisk Silas wasn't sure if she was joking. Her face didn't show it. He laughed anyway. A soft breeze danced across the fields. For the first time since she arrived, Silas noticed the quiet grace in her posture. Strength didn't overshadow her femininity, it shaped it. Asterisk. You know, Marena said suddenly, you write like a poet. Asterisk Silas stared. Me? I barely finish a sentence. Asterisk. Maybe that's why your words feel real, she said. Real's rare. Asterisk. In that moment, something inside Silas softened. She wasn't a mistake. She wasn't a mismatch. Asterisk. She was a woman with scars and stories just like him. Asterisk, and maybe, just maybe, this unexpected pairing wasn't a curse at all. Asterisk days passed, and the rhythm of the ranch began to shift. Silas found himself waking earlier, working harder, and despite himself watching Marena more closely. Not because of her strength, but because of the quiet determination behind every task she did. She repaired the stable door he'd been meaning to fix for months. She organized his tools. She cooked hearty meals without being asked. She even calmed a skittish Mare that Silas could barely approach. Asterisk, each day revealed a new layer of her. A softness beneath her stern exterior, a warmth hidden behind the guarded expression. Asterisk, one evening, as the two sat by the fire, Silas noticed Marena's hand, scarred but steady, resting gently in her lap. Asterisk. You ever miss Missouri? He asked. Asterisk Marena hesitated. No place to miss. She stared into the flames. My family didn't think much of me. Sighed I was strange. Said no man would ever want a woman who worked harder than him. Asterisk Silas felt a pang in his chest. Well, they were wrong. Asterisk. She gave him a small, startled look as if praise was foreign to her. Asterisk. Maybe, she whispered, but people don't always want what's good for them. Asterisk Silas nodded slowly. Maybe they don't know what they need. Asterisk Silas didn't realize his hand had moved until it rested near hers. For a moment, neither spoke. The fireplace crackled softly, casting shadows that danced across the wooden walls. Asterisk. You know, Silas, she murmured, I wasn't sure you'd want me when you saw me. Asterisk Silas inhaled sharply. Marena, I didn't expect you. That's true. But I ain't ever been one to turn away strength. We all need it in different forms. Her eyes softened, really softened for the first time. The next morning, a storm rolled in from the mountains. Wind howled, rain hammered the roof, and lightning cracked across the sky. A flash flood threatened the cattle pen. Silas bolted outside, yelling for Marena. Asterisk. They worked side by side in the pouring rain, moving frightened animals. reinforcing the fence, pulling a stuck calf from the rising mud. Silas slipped and nearly fell into the water, but Marina's strong hand yanked him back. Asterisk, you could have been swept away, she shouted. Asterisk, and you saved me, he shouted back. Asterisk, when the storm finally passed, both stood soaked, exhausted, trembling from the cold. Asterisk, Marena touched his cheek gently. Silas, I came here because I wanted a new life, but I never expected someone who'd look at me like I'm worth choosing. Asterisk, Silas swallowed hard. You are worth choosing, Marena. More than you know. Asterisk, the sunrise broke through the clouds behind them, painting the ranch in warm gold. Silas reached for her hand, this time intentionally, and she didn't pull away. Asterisk, in that quiet, rain-washed moment, something unspoken settled between them. Not fear, not uncertainty, but connection. Real and undeniable. Asterisk, Silas had expected a delicate bride. Asterisk, instead, he received a woman carved from strength and survival. Asterisk, and somehow, he wouldn't have it any other way.